Recently, we came across a shocking news where two women were killed as a sacrifice to gods, and one of the bodies was cut into 56 pieces to perform black magic. This is heartbreaking. However, this is not one of incident that happened in India. We hear every now and then that people are victimized, assaulted, or killed in the name of superstitious beliefs and black magic. For example, a 6-year-old boy was killed in the same month as a sacrifice for prosperity. 20 years ago, a guy killed a journalist and ate his brain so that he could increase his intelligence while performing black magic. A 6-year-old girl were gang raped and lungs were taken out to perform black magic. These are really heartbreaking incidents. And the and one of the most shocking news that happened recently in Andhra Pradesh, where a couple killed their own daughters, brutally murdered their daughters with trishul and dumbbell, believing that they will resurrect within few hours. And unfortunately, saddeningly enough, the daughters shared the same beliefs and volunteered for the sacrifice. In this particular case, it is very puzzling because both couple are very educated. Father is a doctorate in science and vice president for a government college, and the mother is a gold medalist in post graduation, also was a principal in a private institute. So these people are in education sector. They're supposed to be shaping the minds of young people in India. So what can we do about this particular problem that is deeply rooted, problem of superstitious faiths and beliefs that are deeply rooted in our culture? What does our law say? Although there is no nationwide legislation against superstitious practices such as black magic, assaulting, killing, or hurting human beings goes against the fundamental rights guaranteed by our Constitution in Article 14, 15, and 21. It also violates international treaties such as Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Having said that, I don't believe this is a law enforcement problem. I think this is educational and awareness problem. We need to take a bottom-up approach instead of top-down. Instead of enforcing laws, of course, we need good laws. They must be enforced. But at the same time, we must create awareness in masses on the psychological and social and personal damages these superstitious practices and faiths can cause. No matter how insignificant blind faith is, it creates a mindset that will eventually lead to commit major crimes in certain cases. The problem is just not dark art, but deeply rooted blind faiths in our culture, irrespective of class, religion, educational status, or financial status. We breed the culture of superstitious faiths, values, and practices in our homes and in our streets. And the bigger problem is these practices happen in the name of religion. So it becomes even more sensitive to tackle when these superstitious practices are intertwined with religious values and religious culture. That is probably one of the reasons why not many leaders raise their voice against superstitious faiths, because people might misunderstand them attacking their religion when they attack superstitious faiths. There is a difference. We need to draw the fine line between religious values and superstitious faith. As I mentioned before, most of these superstitious practices happen in the name of religion. So we must be able to differentiate religious values from superstitious practices. For example, turning to a Baba, Guru, Imam, or pastor if you have a legitimate problem like financial crisis, marital problem, problem with children, problem in your business, and accepting their irrational, stupid, and unscientific solutions like wearing a taviz or wearing a colored stone or a ring or perform some ritual at your home that would that's supposed to solve these problems that you are facing in your life. This is completely unscientific, and these practices are not mentioned in our scriptures as well. So it is unscientific and also unscriptural. I will get into that in a moment. Unfortunately, we create this, we teach the same values to our children as well when they are going to an exam, for example, and we ask them to drop money in the box on the way at a temple or get blessings from imam or a pastor, get blessings from a pastor that's supposed to help them perform better in exams. This is the psychology we are creating instead of teaching them the importance of reasoning, rational thinking, and being independent. Another major problem is converting from one religion to other religion with a hope to get blessing from the new God or with a hope to solve problems. So if someone knocks your door saying this thing, hey, convert, accept my God that will solve your problems, it is a stupid, unscientific, and unscriptural solution they are giving. We should not entertain them. And finally, we don't reason with our faith. That is another biggest problem. We don't reason with our faiths, with our religious practices. We just follow them blindly, and we don't study the scriptures as well. We don't reason, we don't study scriptures. That's why we have these blind faiths. We just follow our gurus, leaders, imams and pastors, and most of the times they are deceptive. We become fearful of them, being insecure of our life. These are some of the problems why we breed this culture of superstitious practices. I've got 4 steps we can follow as an individual without relying on law enforcement, educate ourselves and people around us so that we can eventually eradicate the culture of blind faith, superstitious practices, and dark arts like black magic. Faith is important, but faith without reason, logic, and rationality will blind you and can lead you to perform stupid, irrational, unscientific practices such as black magic. It is interesting that we think logically in every aspect of our life. Before taking every action, we apply logic. Even as simple as buying a vegetable, we check if it is fresh or not. Am I getting enough value for the money or not? But we don't apply the same logic and reasoning when it comes to the matter of religion. We do a lot of research before admitting our children into a school. Is the school good or bad? What are the benefits of admitting him into this particular school? Will my child have a future or not? But we don't do similar analysis, similar research when we teach them religious practices or religious faiths. I'm not saying entire religion is wrong, but I'm saying we must be able to cultivate this idea, cultivate this habit of applying logic, reason, and rational thinking to everything that we do. Unfortunately, we don't do it out of fear and insecurities. We think 100 times if I am getting value for money before buying something, but we don't even think once before spending money for religious rituals or buying taviz or buying a color stones. So this is a major problem. We must be able to start reasoning, apply logic, and rationality to every single thing we do, even if it is religion. We should not have any insecurity. We should teach the same thing to our children as well. This way, we'll be able to eradicate superstitious faiths within 1 or 2 generations. We must understand that superstitious faiths and practices are not encouraged by any of our scriptures. Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Bible, or Quran. In fact, they condemn the superstitious practices. Vedas, Vedic literature particularly, motivates us to develop a great personality and great character by connecting with ourselves, by developing self-realization. This is the fundamental message of Vedic literature, Vedas, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. And then understand the Supreme Creator, apply logic and reasoning to why He exists. Everything stated in Bhagavad Gita, it provides a reason why it is mentioned, why you should do this, why you should not do that. There is an answer to why for every practice, every faith, every teaching, every principle that is taught in Bhagavad Gita. And the most interesting is Bhagavad Gita encourages us to apply logic, reasoning, and rational thinking to its teachings and follow as we wish. So there is no compulsion. This is explicitly mentioned in 18th chapter, 63rd verse. Thus declared by me to you the secret of all knowledge. Having reflected upon it fully, act according to your wish. This is very interesting. Here, Sri Krishna Paramatma, who taught the scripture, encourages us to reflect on its verses, which means apply logic and reasoning to the verses. He could have said, follow whatever I taught blindly, and even if we follow the principles in Bhagavad Gita blindly, we'll still find success and fulfillment in life. Because the core message of the scripture is self-realization. And for every single principle, every single teaching Bhagavad Gita has, it gives reason why you should do this, why you should not do that, why you should have certain faith, why you should believe in certain thing, and why you should not believe in certain thing. So it gives reasons for everything that is taught. Even then, Sri Krishna Paramatma still encourages us to reflect on the verses because the core message is self-realization. We must have complete conscious and awareness on what we are doing. Quran is also very loud in condemning the superstitious faiths such as black magic and even Taoist culture. Do not sell the words of God for a cheap price. So do not sell Taoist, in short. That's what it means. And the scripture also encourages scientific thinking. So this is the blessed book we revealed upon you so that you reflect upon its verses. You can apply logic, reasoning, and rational thinking. Do not follow anything in the scripture blindly, and more than anything else, do not follow your imams blindly. They will definitely mislead you into superstitious practices in the name of religion. Bible and Guru Granth Sahib also condemn superstitious practices. I have made a comprehensive video on this very subject. I have given a link up there. Please go through it. It will have more information on this very subject. So what we understand in short is that our scriptures do not encourage superstitious faiths and practices. So anything that is superstitious is not only unscientific, it is unscriptural as well. When you attack superstitious belief, superstitious faith, superstitious practices, even things like Tawiz or colored stone, you are not attacking the true essence of religion. You are not attacking your religious values. You are not attacking your culture as well. You are only specifically attacking superstitious practice part of the culture, and we must do that. So we must develop scientific thinking. We must also develop scriptural thinking. That's why very popular scholars of religion, for example, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, has studied all these scriptures. He never entertained any superstitious practices in his life. He is a great believer in the scripture and what they teach us, and he also believes that the scriptures transform human being into a good person. Educational institutions must also take the responsibility to educate and create awareness in children on superstitious practices and faiths. They should have a curriculum on philosophy of logic, reasoning, and rationality thinking. They should also create workshops, conduct workshops where they help students differentiate between traditional values, cultural values, and superstitious practices. This way, children will develop habit of rational thinking and they question blind faiths. This way, we'll be able to eradicate superstitious practices and faiths within 1 or 2 generations. And the last but very important point is developing courage to give up the superstitious faiths. We have this insecurity that we will face problems in life if we give up certain practice. If we remove a taviz, if we remove colored stone, if we remove a ring given by our Baba, or if we stop visiting Baba, if we stop performing rituals or prayers, if we stop inviting pastors to our home, we live in this insecurity. For how long? We live this throughout our life, and we teach the same insecurity, we induce the same insecurity in our children as well. We must understand that life is a combination of good and bad, success and failure, ease and hardships. And they both come and go, no matter what your religious belief is. It doesn't matter if you are getting blessing from your pastor or not. It doesn't matter if you wear a taviz or not. They have nothing to do with the problems you are facing in your life. Problems are reality of life. They are integral part of our life. Whereas taviz is not a real solution. Colored stone is not a real solution. Getting prayer from pastor is not a real solution. We must develop this courage to question them and give up this habit of living in insecurity once for all. I've created a comprehensive video on the reality of life where I dig deeper into this issue. Here is the link. And another problem is converting from one religion to other religion or changing gods with a hope that that will solve our problems. This is also a way of living in insecurity. So changing gods or converting religion is not gonna help you solve your problems magically. That is again a really wrong way of thinking. I have created a comprehensive video on this one as well. So in conclusion, develop the habit of reasoning with faith, develop knowledge on scriptures, and educate children on superstitious practices, and finally develop courage to give up on superstitious practices by understanding the reality of life. If you follow these steps, we'll be able to eradicate superstitious practices from our culture within 1 or 2 generations. Thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful day.